Fiona O'Donnell.
Mr Deputy Speaker, thank you for calling me to make my maiden speech in this important debate. And I'd like to begin by thanking the Honourable Member from Oxford West and Abingdon for an eloquent and elegant indeed contribution to the debate. But I would like to single out my friend, the Honourable Member for Houghton and Sunderland South. I think it is so good for this House that women with her experience have been elected to serve. It is, of course, customary to pay tribute to your constituency in a maiden speech, and I am pleased to say that I am not in the position of the Right Honourable Member for Ealing North, who appeared to have to work very hard to find something interesting in 1997 to say about his constituency. He managed, though, the story of June 1889, in which a giant circus elephant had collapsed and died on Castlebar Hill. I quote from his maiden speech: "The giant pachyderm, with its last few breaths, bravely staggered forward and is to this day found underneath the road." Unfortunately, just over the constituency border in Ealing, Acton and Shepherd's Bush. I'm delighted to say that for me, this is an entirely easy and pleasurable task. East Lothian is without doubt a constituency blessed in almost every way imaginable. It positively drips with scenic beauty. Not only is it blessed with breathtaking natural beauty, it also has a continuous golden thread of important and interesting historical significance. And those golden colours are reflected in the wonderful art of local artist John Bellany, who grew up in Port Seton. It is a constituency whose natural beauty ranges from magnificent beaches through agricultural farmland and on to rolling hills, and features everything from Cistercian monks to the resting place of Concord. Yet even with this embarrassment of riches, I have not yet mentioned its greatest asset, its people. East Lothian is blessed with genuinely close-knit and vibrant communities. It is a part of this country which has a real and thriving sense of self. Its strong sense of self-identity means that even in these most difficult times for the newspaper industry, it has served by 3 local newspapers. The existence of the East Lothian Courier, the East Lothian and Musselburgh News and the Evening Times is not a leftover from a distant age. It is a reflection of a community with deep roots and a strong sense of social justice. The communities of East Lothian range from former mining and fishing villages through to castles and keeps, from the market town of Haddington to the fiercely proud mining-built communities of Prestonpans, Tranent, Walliford, McMurray, Ormiston, Elphinstone and Whitecraig. At the east end of the constituency sits Musselburgh, the honest town, which now has one of the top 5 racecourses in the country. And this is also a constituency whose people have a long history of not being easily pushed around and who will not tolerate social injustice. And those battles haven't just been fought in this country. The men who left East Lothian to fight against Franco's fascists in the Spanish Civil War have their names inscribed on a plaque in Prestonpans. As well as brave men, East Lothian also has a proud history of brave women. My predecessor, Anne Moffat, was the first woman to represent East Lothian. She began her working life as a nurse and went on to become president of Unison. It was a real source of pride to Anne when she became the PPS to the Right Honourable Member for Kingston upon Hull West and Hessel, when he was Secretary of State for Health. Anne cared deeply about the NHS, and her first-hand experience of working in the wards equipped her well for this post. The House will be aware that Anne has suffered poor health in recent months, and I'm sure they will all join me in wishing her good health and happiness. She paved the way for other women to represent East Lothian, and I am sure that I will not be the last. But Anne was not the first woman to stand up for working people in East Lothian. There is a statue in Trinent by sculptor David Annand of Jackie Crookston beating her drum, with a small child at her side, to commemorate the massacre of Trinent in 1797. Women from mining communities across the county beat their own drum to protect their communities during the miners' strike of 1984. The dispute and the months of hardship almost tore those communities apart as some men returned to work. Fiona Hunter, then aged only 12, wrote a poem called "Hang On, Dad," for a school project. Don't go down the mine, Dad, where some of them have gone. Hang on a little longer, Dad. Don't let them think they've won. I know it's hard to feed us, Dad, but we've hung on so long. It can't go on much longer, Dad. Much better times must come. It's hard to believe that these are the words of a child of 12. The common endeavour of the miners and their families and the communities of East Lothian bound them closely together. And this constituency then is clearly one that does not easily lend itself to dissection, to the arbitrary redrawing of boundaries and random consequence of arid mathematical formulas dreamt up in central office and breathed into life in Whitehall. This coalition government cannot take a community like East Lothian with its sense of self, its sensible and natural boundaries and institution, and its hundreds of years of organic community development, and simply apply the chainsaw of narrow party advantage in the way proposed. As I was campaigning in East Lothian, I was proud to mark Labour's record. And I now want to make a pledge to the people of East Lothian that we on this side, in Her Majesty's loyal opposition, will fight to stop the proposals of the government to weaken democracy and weaken our role in representing them. I thank the House.